Welcome, Internet Nomad. This is My Own Game Tales. Today we have an Xbox Game Studios game developed by Interior Night. This is my own game tale of As Dusk Falls. This game boasts to be an interactive drama that explores two families across 30 years. The game begins with one family, the Halts, staging a robbery on the police chief's house. They will end up colliding with the Walker family, which this car accident puts a halt on their trip to Missouri. The Walker family stays in an inn for the night in Two Rock, Arizona. After the Holt family robs the house, they try to hide from the police in the same hotel as the Walkers. The game is a motion graphic novel. The art is beautiful, and I wasn't even playing with the enhanced graphics. The actors performed and were digitally rendered into the game's art style. This game is all about choices. Most of the gameplay is about choosing a path. One talking point of the Steam page explains, the game is about sacrifice versus survival. There's many branches that players could see and replay to get different outcomes. Personally, I got enough of the story playing the game only once. I know I probably missed secrets and alternate paths playing this way, but I was satisfied with the version of the story I played. The cool thing about the game is you play as both families. The two stories of both families are interwoven. When I took a creative writing class, I had to write a double narrative story. This game is clearly a great example of these types of stories. The game is broken into two books. The first focusing on the stories of the Halts and Walkers with their night in Two Rock. The second is about escape and the long-term effects of that fateful night. The Hotel Desert Dream turns into a hostage situation where the Halts take the Walkers Vince, Michelle, Jim, and Zoe. The Halts consist of Tyler, Dale, and Jay. I danced around major spoilers, but I just want to say this game handles its topics well. One point in the story, there's a flashback that is really triggering. The game not only includes a trigger warning, but also an option to skip that scene and give you a random outcome of the event. One feature I want to mention, but I never got a group of friends to play with, but the game has a multiplayer aspect, where each person could vote on choices. I like this option in games, but I never found the time where my friends would want to play. Okay, spoilers time. The reason the police are so involved with the robbery is the house they robbed was Sheriff Dante Romero. He doesn't care about the money, and instead is more interested in a book one of the brothers took. The Holtz take shelter in the Desert Dream and takes the owner, the handyman, and the Walkers as hostages. The police are alerted, dependent on your choices, but all paths lead to them showing up. There are flashbacks where Vince and Michelle deal with an affair. Vince is fired from his job as an airplane engineer because of a faulty plane leading to fatalities. Vince warned the airline, but they forced him to take the blame in exchange for some money. The Halts are robbing the sheriff in order to pay off their gambling debts that their father left them. Dependent on choices, this is where the scene with a trigger warning. Their father attempts to take his own life for insurance money to help the family. I chose to save him. Their mother, Sharon, tricks the police to let her in. Her reasoning is she will help get her boys to surrender. When she enters, she actually plots their escape. The sheriff really wants his black book back because it details all bribes and criminal dealings he's involved in. The Halts take a hostage and drive away. In my playthrough, they took Zoe. Jay gets separated from his family. He meets a woman named Vanessa, who will help him later in the story. He is advised by his older brother to go north, since the police would suspect him to go south. There's a big reveal that Jay was actually not Sharon's son. Her sister gave birth to him but died in the process. The game focuses on Jay's escape to Canada. Vanessa decides to run away with Jay after Jay calls her in Salt Lake City, Utah. Jay is assumed dead after being caught in Montana. Jay and Vanessa take a leap of faith and assume dead. They both make it to Canada. Jay ends up right into Zoe, who has serious PTSD after the events in Rock. It ends up Vanessa grew tired living in hiding and left for California. Jay and Zoe share a meal together. The game ends on a cliffhanger where Zoe's grandfather, Jay, leaves a voicemail about how he had a secret past in Rock before he is assaulted. There are clues to who assaulted Jim, but the game is really setting up a sequel. I could talk about theories, but the fact is I don't know. I haven't played all the story paths, so I don't know who it could be. I read theories online. I will let you find those yourselves. I might make a theory video on the channel in a future topic. I also want to write a fanfiction about Jay. I might make a diary about his life in Canada. There is many variations in the ending of the game. I didn't go through them all, but in my playthrough, Sharon and Paul used the money from the sheriff's offshore account, written in the Black Book, to escape to a beach. Michelle and Vince remain together. Vince now has an office job since I took the money from the airline. Bear survives and places flowers on Dale's grave. Finishing the story, I have a new appreciation for visual novels. This is only the third one I played. I only checked it out because I was recommended on Reddit. I'm going to be playing more games and adding them to the narrative year run. At first I only had 12 games to choose from. Now I'm trying to make videos bi-weekly. This game was on my list for a good while, but I never found time to write it. What I love about Choice Matters games is that the game tell could be completely different for each person. The whole ending each character has a set of possibility outcomes depending on how you played. This game has a nice timeline where you could quickly play a different path and track which decisions you played out. That's my own game tale on As Dusk Falls.